So the first question is, what is helpful and not helpful in the classroom when trying to manage stress and anxiety?
When professors are open about how they want to help you if anything comes up, they give you resources and they make it kind of a safe space where you feel like you wouldn't be uncomfortable talking to them.
Having office hours, being available for a lot of office hours.
It's when professors are really organized. They're always having things due on Sunday, and it's always consistent. The opposite of that would be what's not helpful. Inconsistent, things aren't due on a regular basis.
Understanding what's going on in the actual class, like actually paying attention obviously is going to help to ease a lot of, anxiety and stress. A lot that can lead into that is not being prepared, or maybe like not being as present in the classroom. Think that things that can negate you and not really believing in yourself. Like, I don't know, like not really having motivation. Like, you got to have self-motivation to even like want to show up and everything. So I think that's like one of our biggest preventers. Just finding motivation has like helped me, and also not helped me because I can't find it.
Nature views are helpful. Good de-stressor. Old, unmodern classrooms like brick walls. I don't really like that.
My first semester, I didn't really go to class at all. Pretty anxious because you didn't really know what was going on in class, and then you'd show up and then you'd be all anxious. I have generalized anxiety disorder, so I kind of always am anxious. And a lot of times it's going to the classroom, drawing attention to myself, or thinking that I'm drawing attention to myself. Like with studying, a lot of it is just like make sure you're on top of the work.
It's helpful when a professor gives you resources, so you know where you can go if you're experiencing these stressful situations.
People making it more than it has to be, like with certain assignments, certain things, like they overstress and it just becomes like an aura around the classroom. Even though it kind of means something to everyone in a different way, it's not that serious. Of course you want the degree, but you have to have the mindset in your mind like everything passing.
Probably just like the deadlines, stuff like that when it comes to us, like the workload. So I feel like that's a big stressor, but everything else, I feel like we've got good professors helping you with the work and stuff like that, making sure you succeed.
I would say the professors, what type of professor they are. Some of them are very helpful. The professor is just all about lectures, ongoing, doesn't give you breaks, oh my god, can you stop for a second?
When there's a lot of projects or assignments due at once, a lot of time management can be the most stressful.
Not helpful when they don't use Blackboard, don't know when things are due, or if things are uploaded late, they change what the plan is without updating it. So you're kind of lost. When you have a professor that does that, it's very helpful.
My physics class, when my professor does not teach anything relevant for the homework or quiz that we're taking the next class period. We love physics.
Probably friends, just knowing that everyone's going through the same thing. A lot of people are taking the same classes, studying with each other and just asking questions and just talking through it helps a lot for me.
Does a professor ever give you resources to help manage stress and other mental health concerns?
I don't think so.
No. Yeah. Have you ever reached out to a professor for something like that?
Most of the time it's academic. I have a statistics professor this semester who is pretty open about mental health, so sometimes tell her that I'm not doing so great, and usually she gives me some leniency with work.
One of my psychology professors every week, she spotlights a different resource that the school offers, and then she posts them in a folder on Blackboard. I think psychology professors are a little bit more aware just because it's their job to kind of look for those signs and things. Personally, I've never experienced a department offering those resources.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. I got some good professors that have given us some pretty good self-care tools. Resources, reading resources, mindfulness exercises, things like that.
The resources that they provide at the end of the syllabus, all professors do that. Other than that, I don't really see anything else.
The first thing in her syllabus, and she pushed it as hard as she could. My writing professor would survey every once in a while. He'd give out, he'd be like, rate your stress from 1 to 10, just let me know. I have a couple professors this semester, they really push it heavy just because they know how stressful it can be. Some of them are still in school too, so kind of make it relatable.
Use the one in the student union, ones where you can go and talk to an advisor or someone that can help you with that. That one is, I like that one. The counseling center.
Not explicitly. They're good at underscoring the importance of it, I think, but there's not a whole lot of pointing to Grand Valley's resources.
No. That's to my knowledge.
Not necessarily. During syllabus week, they talk about how their services and everything. So maybe I shouldn't say no, but I haven't had an actual professor come up to me and give me a specific resource. They just say hey, just so you know, we have resources on campus.
Not specifically for stress and anxiety, no. Not that I know of.
I feel like literally all of them.
Mainly just on campus. Not really any teachers unless it's on the syllabus, like near the bottom.
Yeah, but I've never used it, but yeah, they have. They always put like stuff on their syllabus that like gives you information, but I feel like other professors do more and talk about it more than others.
Do you think professors or other staff are active in addressing mental health or stress management?
From personal experience, they're more active when you bring it up. If you were to go up to them and say, like, look, I'm really struggling right now, like, they would jump on the opportunity to help you. I don't think they're necessarily looking at you and saying, like, you look really stressed out or anxious, like, what can I do?
And some are, and some like super aren't. Like some are like really into it, and others just kind of like, here's the work. I don't really care how overwhelmed you feel or how it makes you feel. So.
Some are. I think definitely some are, especially the newer generations of professors who like kind of understand what Gen Z is going through. I feel like we could do some improvement there, letting people know that like a lot of people now do suffer disorders with their mental health or just like depression, anxiety, stuff like that, and understanding that you aren't alone would be good, and that this like institution that you're in is here for you and not just to like pass judgment off you.
I haven't really seen a lot of it.
Some of them are, and other ones that just talk about it, but they don't go really in depth.
I think the addressing it is good. Like I said, it's just pointing to specific resources is the only weakness.
I feel like maybe if they were approached, I don't know if they would be like super forward with it. I know that our professor has in our class. She had mentioned it one day, like, you know, like things you can do to seek out resources, but I haven't had any other professor do that.
I think it would definitely depend on your major. For multimedia journalism, for me, we do talk about those things, but it's definitely not on like a daily basis whatsoever. You know, bioengineering or something like that. Like I highly doubt they're talking about stress and anxiety like on a realistic basis. But obviously programs like that are going to really increase, you know, those type of realities for people.
Some, not all of them, but yeah.
I wouldn't say necessarily active, like during class, not active, but a lot of them you can go to their office to look into that. Some maybe not so much.
What's one thing that you would like your faculty to know about the stress you feel?
Everybody has different stresses. Everybody deals with it differently. Everybody can handle different amounts of stress. So just try to be open and try to get to know people on a personal level, so that way they can learn better, you can teach better.
Most people, even if they don't externalize it, they're still dealing with it.
Sometimes it can be very overwhelming, especially if you have stuff on the side like a job, which most students here have to have, or if you have like extracurriculars that can all add up.
I have so many other classes.
I feel like there's different kinds of stress. Like it doesn't just come from one thing. There could be different things going on in our lives that can deal with, of course, like stress or putting that heavy load on top of us, plus the work or just whatever else we have going on.
The main thing is then being mindful that we all have responsibilities other than classes. A lot of people work and that sort of thing.
I'm kind of like a non-traditional student because I graduated in like 2016. I got my associates in 2019, and then I've been like out of school for a while. I'm under the assumption that like a lot of professors think that students are like here on campus or like you know live or like commute close by and like they're just going to school. But for me, it's like I have also like an entire life and like have also spent a lot of time like outside of school as well. And when you do that, it's hard to reacclimate to get back into college.
I feel like as students, we're expected to meet deadlines. Like we are, like we don't have the choice. Like realistically, we don't really get extensions in our deadlines and everything. So like, I feel like professors need to understand or should hold the same level of standards, you know, against themselves as they do to us as students. Because in my reality, even in this current semester, I have you know, assignments that haven't been graded since January. So like, that's only increasing my stress level as a senior entering, you know, or rather I'm about to graduate in April. So like, I have no idea if I'm even passing this class. So that's definitely a major thing that needs to be altered going forward for any and all professors.
People our age and our generation have quite a few mental health issues. A student who wasn't doing great was like, yeah, I'm depressed. And he's like, oh. And then he kind of got it from there. He's like, he understood that it's a lot more difficult than he thinks. So there needs to be kind of a mutual understanding there.
Yeah, I would agree.
Sometimes it's a lot all in one week. and like they have to realize that like we are taking other classes and have other priorities, and like some classes that they, I guess if it's like not your major, like they like put a bunch of homework out there and you're like, well, it's not even my major, like what am I gonna do with that, you know? So just like realizing that we have other things going on.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your experience with staff and faculty in understanding mental health?
Probably like a 4.
Probably like an 8 or a 9.
Give it a 6.5.
An 8.
I would say around like a 7.
7 as well.
7.5, 8.
I'd say a 6 or 7.
I don't have necessarily like too much personal experience, so I'm just gonna give it a 6.
Probably a 7.
Honestly, 10.
I'm gonna do a neutral, like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say it really depends on the professor.
It definitely depends.
6, 7, sometimes 8.
Maybe like a 5.
I think it's definitely gotten a lot better as far as like scaling it. I'd say like probably like an 8.